The palace was silent. Too silent. Jack walked 3 steps behind Queen Lyra, his boots quiet on the cold stone floor. He was the only human here. Short black hair, sharp eyes, and a thick jacket that still smelled of earth rain. His gun rested heavy on his hip. 2 months on this freezing alien world, and he still felt like an outsider. But every time the queen passed him, something in his chest tightened. He didn't know why. He just knew he would die before he let anything hurt her. Queen Lyra moved like living glass. 7 feet tall, skin glowing soft blue, crystal wings folded tight against her back. Her people were cold-blooded, no inner fire. One chill too deep, and they simply stopped. Tonight, she walked her throne room alone. For guards in silver armor followed. Jack scanned every shadow. The air felt wrong, sharp like metal burning. Then the buzz started, low at first, like distant bees. Then louder, angry. From the ceiling vents, a black cloud exploded out. Nanites, thousands of them, each one smaller than a grain of sand, edges sharper than knives. They moved as one living shadow. The first guard never had a chance. The swarm hit him like a wave. Tiny cuts opened everywhere. Blood sprayed across the wall. He screamed once, then dropped. The other guards shouted in their strange tongue and swung glowing spears. Light flashed. Nanites exploded into sparks. But more kept coming. One guard lost his arm in a blink. Another's face turned into red ribbons. Queen Lyra spun around. Her silver eyes went wide with terror. She ran for the side door, crystal wings flaring open. The swarm followed her like a hungry storm. Jack's heart slammed against his ribs. "Queen, get down!" he roared. He raised his gun and fired. Bang, bang, bang. Bullets tore through the cloud. Sparks flew, but the swarm split, dodged, and kept coming. A small group broke off and dove straight at the queen. She threw up her hands. A weak blue shield flickered to life. The nanite slammed into it and bounced back, but the shield cracked. Her skin was already losing color. She was freezing fast. Jack sprinted forward. He shoved a dying guard aside and planted himself between her and the swarm. "Stay behind me." The nanites smelled him, warm human blood. They turned. A line of them sliced across his left arm. Pain exploded like fire. Blood poured down his sleeve, hot and sticky. Jack gritted his teeth and kept firing. Click. Empty. He slammed in a new magazine. Queen Lyra stumbled. Her knees hit the stone. Her wings folded. The glow in her skin faded to gray. She looked up at Jack, lips trembling, no sound coming out. Her body shook harder. Minutes left, maybe less. Jack stood over her, blood dripping from his fingers. The swarm formed a solid black wall 10 feet away, buzzing louder, ready to finish them both. His eyes dropped to the queen, then to his own jacket, still warm from his body, still carrying his heat. The swarm surged forward. Jack grabbed the zipper with bloody fingers. One hard yank. The jacket flew open. Warm air rushed out into the freezing hall. He tore it off in one motion. Blood from his arm smeared the sleeve red. He dropped to one knee beside her. The queen looked at him, confused, dying. Jack's voice was low and rough. "If I don't do this, you die right here." He wrapped the heavy jacket around her narrow shoulders. The warm cloth touched her crystal skin. A faint blue glow returned. Just a spark. But it was there. The swarm attacked again. This time they went straight for Jack. Pain ripped across his chest. Another cut open on his thigh. He fell forward, catching himself on one hand. Blood pooled under him. Queen Lyra clutched the jacket tight. Clear glass-like tears slid down her cheeks. She stared at the human bleeding for her. Alarm screamed through the palace. Red lights flashed. Jack looked up at her, vision blurring. "Run if you can." She shook her head slowly. Her voice came out as the smallest whisper. "No human." The swarm closed in, black and unstoppable. Jack raised his empty gun like a club. He knew one thing for sure. This was only the beginning. And whatever happened next would break hearts across the galaxy. And the part one. Now the hook is stronger. Immediate danger, short punchy sentences, blood, emotion, and a killer cliffhanger that screams, click next part. The audience will be dying to know. Does she save him? Why does she keep the jacket? What happens when she wears it? Tell me when you want part 2 written the same way. Jack's blood dripped onto the cold stone floor. Each drop sounded loud in the screaming alarms. His chest burned where the nanites had cut him. His left arm hung useless, sleeves soaked dark red, but he still held the queen close. His jacket, now wrapped tight around her shoulders, was the only thing keeping her alive. Queen Lyra clutched the thick fabric like it was a lifeline. The warmth from Jack's body soaked into her crystal skin. Slowly, very slowly, a faint blue glow returned to her arms. Her shaking stopped. Her silver eyes cleared just enough to focus on him. She looked down at the human kneeling in front of her. Blood ran from the deep gash on his chest. His breathing came in short, painful gasps. Yet he had not run. He had not left her. "Why?" she whispered. Her voice was soft, cracked, almost lost in the buzzing swarm outside the hall. Jack tried to smile. It came out as a weak grimace. Because someone has to. The nanites hadn't stopped. They circled the two of them like a living tornado. Every few seconds a few broke away and slashed at Jack. Another cut open on his shoulder. He grunted but didn't move. He pressed his good hand against the queen's back, sharing what little heat he had left. The jacket was heavy on her. It smelled of sweat, gun oil, and something warm, something alive. Human. For the first time in her long life, Queen Lyra felt heat that didn't come from machines or fire. It came from blood, from pain, from sacrifice. Her crystal wings twitched. Strength returned, not much, but enough. She lifted one hand. A thin shield of blue light formed around them both. It wasn't strong. It flickered like a dying bulb, but it pushed the nearest nanites back a few inches. Jack looked up at her. "You're getting better." She nodded once. Clear tears, hard like tiny diamonds, rolled down her cheeks and fell onto the jacket. They sparkled in the red emergency lights. "You are dying for me," she said. "I feel it. Your heat, it's fading." Jack laughed, a short, rough sound that turned into a cough. Blood flecked his lips. "Not dying yet. Just leaking a little." The swarm pressed harder. The shield cracked. Tiny black machines slipped through and sliced at Jack's leg again. He jerked but held on. His vision started to gray at the edges. Queen Lyra tightened her grip on the jacket. She pulled it closer, burying her face in the collar for a second. The scent of him filled her lungs. Salt, iron life. Something broke inside her chest. Not cold. Something hot. Something new. She looked at him again. "Your name?" "Jack," he said weakly. "Jack." She repeated it like she was tasting the word. "I am Lyra." "I know," he said. "Queen Lyra." "No." Her voice grew firmer. "Just Lyra. Right now, just Lyra." The shield failed completely. The nanites rushed in. Jack tried to stand. His legs buckled. He fell forward, catching himself on his elbows over her. Blood dripped onto the jacket, staining the dark fabric darker. Lyra's eyes flashed. She threw her arms around him, not to hold him up, but to pull him down, to cover him with her body and the jacket. Her crystal wings spread wide, trying to shield them both. The swarm hit like needles. Pain exploded across Jack's back. He bit down hard to keep from screaming. Lyra cried out, not for herself, but for him. "Stop," she shouted at the nanites. Her voice echoed with sudden power. The blue glow in her skin flared brighter. The jacket seemed to drink it in, then push it back out stronger. For a moment the swarm hesitated, confused. The human heat mixed with her light created something they didn't understand. Lyra held Jack tighter. His head rested against her shoulder. His breathing slowed. "Stay with me, Jack," she whispered. "Please." He didn't answer. His body went heavy. Panic flooded her. She looked around. The side door was only 20 feet away. If they could reach it, maybe. She stood slowly, pulling Jack up with her. He was tall for a human, but she was taller. She half carried him. one arm around his waist, the other clutching the bloody jacket to her chest. The Nanites followed, buzzing, hungry. Lyra took one step, then another. Jack's feet dragged. Blood left a dark trail behind them. She reached the door. It was locked. Emergency seal. She pressed her hand to the panel. Her royal code flashed green. The door hissed open. Cold air rushed in from the dark corridor beyond. Lyra looked back once. The swarm was closing again. She pulled Jack through the doorway. The door started to close behind them. But just before it shut, she heard something, a low mechanical whine. The Nanites were adapting. Faster, smarter. Lyra stepped into the shadows, holding the bleeding human who had given her his warmth. She still wore his jacket, and now it carried both their blood. The door sealed with a heavy thud. But the buzzing didn't stop. It followed. The door sealed shut with a heavy clang. For 1 second, silence. Then the buzzing returned, louder, angrier. The Nanites were already drilling into the metal. Tiny sparks flew from the other side. Lyra held Jack against her side. His head rested on her shoulder. His breathing was shallow, wet. Blood soaked through the jacket she still wore. The warmth inside was fading fast. She looked around. They were in a narrow service corridor. Dim green lights ran along the walls. Pipes hissed overhead. No guards. No help. Just them. Jack stirred. His eyes fluttered open. Lyra, his voice was barely a whisper. "I'm here," she said. She lowered him gently against the wall. He slid down until he sat on the cold floor. Blood pooled under him. She knelt in front of him. Her long fingers, cold crystal, touched his face. "You're losing too much." Jack gave a weak laugh. "Yeah, notice." The wall vibrated. The Nanites were close. A small black crack appeared in the door. They would be through in minutes. Lyra stood up. Her silver eyes hardened. She still wore the jacket, torn, bloody, too big for her tall frame. But it felt right, like armor. She turned to Jack. "Can you stand?" He tried. His legs shook. He grabbed the wall and pulled himself up. Pain shot through his body. He bit his lip until it bled more. "Good enough," he said. Lyra nodded. "Then we fight." She raised her hands. Blue light gathered between her palms. It was stronger now, fed by the human heat still trapped in the jacket. She pushed the light outward. A thin shield formed again. This time it held. Jack looked at the floor. A broken pipe lay there, thick metal, sharp at one end. He bent slowly, picked it up. His good hand gripped it tight. The other arm hung limp. The door buckled. A hole the size of a fist opened. Black Nanites poured through like oil. Lyra stepped forward. "Stay behind me." "No chance," Jack said. He moved beside her, shoulder to shoulder. Human and queen. The swarm rushed them. Lyra swung her arms. Waves of blue light slammed into the Nanites. Hundreds exploded into bright sparks. But more came. They dodged her light, slipped under it. Jack swung the pipe. Hard. Metal cracked against the swarm. Nanites shattered. He swung again. Pain ripped through his chest with every move. Blood sprayed from his wounds. But he didn't stop. Back to back now. Lyra's light shield flickered. Jack's pipe dripped red. A group of Nanites broke through. They sliced across Jack's back. He roared in pain and spun. The pipe smashed him into the wall. Sparks flew. Lyra cried out, "Jack!" "I'm fine," he lied. His vision swam. Black spots danced. The swarm grew thicker. They formed shapes, claws, spears, all aimed at the queen. Lyra's wings flared wide. She pushed more power into her light. The jacket glowed faintly where it touched her skin. "They want me dead," she said. "They want no new queens." Jack grunted. "Then they have to go through me first." He charged. Stupid. Brave. He swung the pipe like a bat. Nanites exploded around him, but they cut deeper. His thigh opened. He dropped to one knee. Lyra reached for him. Her hand grabbed his arm. She pulled him back behind the shield. The swarm pressed. The shield cracked again. Jack looked at her. Blood ran from his mouth. Go, find help. I'll hold them. Lyra shook her head hard. No. She pulled him up. His weight leaned on her. Together they moved down the corridor, step by painful step. Behind them, the door fully collapsed. The full swarm poured in. Jack glanced back. They're fast. Lyra's eyes narrowed. Then we run faster. They broke into a painful jog. Jack limped badly. Blood left a trail. Lyra half-carried him. Her wings brushed the walls. The corridor split. Left. Dark stairs down. Right. A heavy blast door, maybe to the armory. Lyra chose right. She slammed her hand on the panel. Code flashed. The door hissed open. They stumbled inside. The armory was small. Racks of energy spears. A few glowing orbs. One big console. Lyra locked the door behind them. It sealed with a red light. For a moment, quiet. Jack slid down the wall. He sat hard. His chest rose and fell too fast. Lyra dropped beside him. She pressed her hands to his worst wounds. Blue light flowed from her fingers. Not strong enough to heal, but enough to slow the bleeding. Jack looked at her. You're safe for now. She met his eyes. Clear tears fell again. Because of you. He tried to smile. Keep the jacket. Looks better on you anyway. Lyra touched the bloody collar. I will never take it off. Outside. The buzzing grew louder. The door rattled. Jack closed his eyes for a second. They're coming. Lyra stood slowly. She picked up an energy spear from the rack. It hummed in her hand. Jack watched her. What now? She turned to him. Her voice was steady. Now we make them pay. The door buckled again. Jack forced himself to stand. He grabbed another pipe, shorter this time. They faced the door together. Human and queen, bleeding, but not broken. Yet, the armory door rattled hard. Metal groaned. Tiny black cracks spread like spider webs across the surface. The nanites were almost through. Lyra stood in front of Jack, energy spear humming in her grip. The blue glow from her skin mixed with the red emergency lights. She still wore the jacket, sleeves rolled up, blood dry in dark patches. It hung loose on her tall frame, but she made it look like royal armor. Jack leaned against the wall. He had found a small medkit on a shelf. His good hand shook as he pressed a bandage to the deepest cut on his chest. Blood soaked through it in seconds. His face was pale. Sweat mixed with blood on his forehead. Lyra, he said quietly, you should go. There's a vent up there. Crawl out. Get help. She didn't turn. I'm not leaving you. The door buckled inward. A fist-sized hole opened. Nanites poured through like black smoke. Lyra swung the spear. Blue energy arced out. The first wave exploded in bright sparks. But more followed. Jack pushed off the wall. He grabbed a short metal rod from the rack. Not as good as a pipe, but better than nothing. He stepped up beside her. Together then, he said. They fought side by side. Spear and rod. Light and metal. Every swing hurt Jack more. His leg buckled once. Lyra caught him with her free arm before he fell. The swarm kept coming. They adapted. Some flew high, some low. One sliced across Lyra's wing. A thin crack appeared in the crystal. She hissed in pain, but didn't stop. Jack saw a small side panel on the wall, an old maintenance hatch. There, he shouted. Lyra nodded. She blasted a final wave of light to clear a path. They ran, or limped, toward it. Jack slammed the release. The hatch popped open. Dark tunnel beyond. They squeezed inside. Jack first, then Lyra. She pulled the hatch shut just as the swarm hit the other side. The door rattled again, but this one was thicker. It would hold longer. Darkness swallowed them. Only the faint blue glow from Lyra's skin lit the narrow space. Pipes ran along the walls. The air smelled of oil and dust. Jack slid down to sit, his back against cold metal, breathing hard, too hard. Lyra knelt in front of him. She set the spear aside. Her hands, gentle now, touched his face. Jack. He looked up. We're safe. For a minute, she shook her head. You're not. She reached up and slowly pulled the jacket off her shoulders. Jack's eyes widened. No, keep it on. You need the heat. Lyra didn't listen. She folded the jacket carefully and pressed it against his chest, right over the worst wound. Then she wrapped around him like a blanket. Your scent is still in it, she said softly. Your warmth. It's stronger than anything my people have. Jack stared at her. Lyra. She tore a long strip from the edge of her royal dress. Thin, shimmering fabric. She pressed it hard against his bleeding arm. Then another strip for his thigh. Her fingers worked fast, careful. For the first time, she touched him without fear. Skin to skin. Crystal to flesh. Jack winced but didn't pull away. Lyra's silver eyes filled with tears again. Clear drops fell onto his hand. I have never felt this. Not in all my years. You bleed for me. You give me your coat. Your life. Why? Jack swallowed. His voice was rough. Because you're worth it. Because when I look at you, I see something beautiful that the galaxy wants to break. And I won't let it. A small sound escaped her, half sob, half laugh. She leaned forward. Her forehead rested gently against his, crystal cool against his fever-hot skin. I felt your heart when you put the jacket on me, she whispered. It beat so strong, so fast. For me. Jack closed his eyes. Still does. The hatch vibrated. Low, buzzing echoed through the metal. They were coming. Lyra pulled back just enough to look at him. We can't stay here long. Jack nodded weakly. There's a ladder at the end of this tunnel. Leads to the lower levels. Maybe the escape pods. She helped him stand. He leaned on her heavily, one arm around her waist, the other clutching the jacket to his chest. They moved down the dark tunnel, step by slow step. Jack's breathing grew worse. His feet dragged. Lyra stopped suddenly. She turned to him. Jack, if we don't make it. We will, he said. She touched the jacket. He now wore again. This belongs to both of us now. He managed a small smile. Yeah, shared property. The buzzing grew louder behind them. The hatch wouldn't hold forever. Lyra tightened her grip on the spear. Then let's keep moving. Together. They continued into the shadows. Blood trailed behind them. But so did hope, small, fragile, but real. And somewhere in the distance, a faint hum started. Not nanites. Something else. Escape pods powering up? Or something worse. The narrow tunnel smelled of rust and old oil. Green emergency strips glowed weakly along the floor. Jack leaned heavily on Lyra as they moved. Each step sent fresh pain through his body. Blood still seeped from the bandages she had made. The jacket, now back on his shoulders, felt heavier than ever. Lyra held the energy spear in one hand. Her other arm stayed wrapped around Jack's waist, supporting most of his weight. Her crystal wings brushed the low ceiling every few steps. Small cracks still showed where the nanites had cut her earlier. They reached a small junction. A metal grate covered a vertical shaft. Faint air moved upward. Warm air. Escape pods were close. Or at least a launch bay. Jack stopped. He slid down against the wall and sat hard. His head fell back. Breathing came in short, ragged pulls. Lyra knelt fast. Jack, look at me. His eyes opened slowly. They were glassy. I'm still here. She touched his cheek. Her fingers trembled. You're cold now. Too cold. That's my fault. Jack shook his head weakly. Not your fault. I chose this. Lyra looked away for a second. Her silver eyes shimmered with unshed tears. Then she spoke, soft, like she was afraid the word would break. My people are dying, Jack. He blinked. What? She sat beside him. The spear rested across her lap. For generations, we have lost our inner fire. No new queens are born with enough heat to lead. The old ones fade. The palace grows colder every cycle. Our enemies know this. They send these nanites to finish what time has started. If I die, no new queen rises. My world ends. Jack listened. Even through the pain, he heard the weight in her voice. That's why they want you dead so bad, he said. Lyra nodded. Yes, but tonight something changed. She reached out and touched the jacket on his shoulders. Her fingers traced the blood-stained collar. When you put this on me, I felt more than warmth. I felt your heartbeat. Strong. Alive. Different from anything we have known. Human heat is not just temperature. It carries emotion. Pain. Courage. Love. Jack stared at her. Love. Lyra's cheeks glowed a deeper blue. Almost shy. I don't know the word in your tongue, but I felt it. Inside me, like a small flame starting where there was only ice. She leaned closer. Her forehead rested against us again. Cool crystal against hot, fevered skin. You gave me your jacket while you bled. You stood between me and death. No one has ever done that. Not in all my years. Not even my own kind. Jack swallowed hard. His voice cracked. Then keep feeling it. Keep that flame. Lyra pulled back just enough to meet his eyes. I will, but only if you live. The tunnel shook. A low buzz echoed from behind. The Nanites had found the hatch. They were coming again. Jack tried to stand. His legs gave out. He fell back with a grunt. Lyra caught him. No more fighting alone. She stood, her wings open as wide as the tunnel allowed. Blue light gathered around her, brighter than before. The jacket scent still clung to her. It fed the glow. I can hold them, she said. Long enough for you to reach the shaft. Jack shook his head. Not leaving you. Lyra smiled, small, sad, beautiful. Then come with me. But first, she knelt again. She took his hand in both of hers. Crystal fingers wrapped around rough, bloody ones. When this is over, she whispered, I want to know more about your world, about rain, about why humans bleed so easily but fight so hard. Jack managed a faint laugh. Deal, but you gotta promise me something. Anything. Wear that jacket, even when I'm gone. Lyra's eyes filled with tears again. I promise. The buzzing grew louder. Closer. The grate at the end of the tunnel rattled. Jack forced himself up. He leaned on the wall. Then let's go. One more push. Lyra stood beside him. She slipped one arm around his waist again. The spear hummed in her other hand. They moved toward the shaft, step by painful step. Behind them, the tunnel wall cracked. Black nanite spilled in like dark water. Lyra glanced back. Her light flared brighter. Jack looked at her. You're glowing stronger. She nodded. Because of you. They reached the shaft. A metal ladder ran up into darkness. Warm air rose from below. The launch bay. Jack grabbed the first rung. His arm shook. Blood dripped down the metal. Lyra went first, climbing slow, so he could follow. She reached down to pull him up. Halfway up, the nanites hit the bottom of the shaft. They swarmed upward. Lyra stopped. She looked down, then at Jack. Hold on, she said. She raised the spear high. Blue energy surged out in a massive wave. The shaft lit up like daylight. Nanites exploded in bright flashes. The swarm fell back, stunned for a moment, but not gone. Lyra pulled Jack higher. Almost there. They climbed. Pain, blood, hope. At the top, a small hatch. Lyra pushed it open. Warm light flooded in. The launch bay. 3 escape pods waited, engines humming. They tumbled out onto the metal floor. Jack collapsed. Lyra caught him before his head hit. She held him close. The jacket, still on him, pressed between them. The nanites buzzed behind. Closer again. Lyra looked at the pods. Then at Jack. One choice left. And time running out. The launch bay was huge and cold. 3 escape pods stood in a row like sleeping giants. Their engines hummed low, ready. Red lights flashed across the metal floor. Warm air rose from the vents below, the only heat in this frozen place. Lyra half-carried Jack out of the shaft. He collapsed onto the floor the moment her arm let go. His body hit hard. Blood spread under him in a dark pool. The jacket, still wrapped around his shoulders, was soaked through. His eyes were half closed, breathing shallow. Lyra dropped to her knees beside him. Jack, stay with me. She pressed both hands to his chest. Blue light flowed from her fingers, weak, flickering. It slowed the bleeding a little, but not enough. His skin felt too cold now, too still. The buzzing exploded behind them. The nanites poured out the shaft like black ink. They spread across the ceiling, the walls, the floor. Thousands, millions. They formed claws, spears. A living storm aimed straight at the queen. Lyra stood slowly. She stepped in front of Jack. Her crystal wings opened wide, cracked but shining. She still wore nothing over her shoulders now that the jacket was back on him, but she didn't need it anymore. The warmth he gave her burned inside like a new heart. She raised the energy spear high. You'll not touch him again. The swarm rushed. Lyra swung the spear and a wide arc blue energy exploded outward, a massive wave of light and cold. The front line of nanites froze solid, then shattered into glittering dust. The blast lit the entire bay like daylight. Pods shook from the force. But the swarm didn't stop. It split. Half came from the left, half from the right. They dodged her light, learned from every attack. Lyra spun. Another blast. More nanites died. Her wings trembled. Her glow dimmed a little with each swing. Behind her, Jack stirred. He opened his eyes. Saw her fighting alone. Saw the blood on the floor. His blood. No, he whispered. With shaking hands, he reached for his belt. One last thing left. A small grenade, high explosive, military grade. He had kept it for emergencies. This was it. He pulled the pin with his teeth. Pain shot through his jaw. Blood filled his mouth. Lyra glanced back. Her eyes widened. Jack, no! He forced a smile. Weak. Bloody. One more thing. He threw the grenade with everything he had left. It arced through the air, slow, perfect, right into the heart of the swarm. The nanites didn't see it coming. Boom! The explosion ripped through the bay. Fire and light and thunder. Nanites vaporized in a bright ring. Shrapnel flew. The ceiling cracked. Alarm screamed louder. The swarm collapsed. Pieces rained down like black snow. The buzzing stopped, sudden, complete. Silence. Lyra staggered back from the blast wave. She turned fast. Jack lay flat on his back. The grenade throw had torn open his wounds again. Fresh blood poured. His chest rose once, twice, then barely moved. Lyra ran to him. She dropped hard beside him. Her hands shook as she pulled him into her lap. She cradled his head against her chest. Jack! Her voice broke. Jack, look at me. His eyes fluttered open. They found hers. Silver meeting brown. You did it, he whispered. They're gone. Tears, clear, glass-like, fell from her eyes onto his face. You did it. You saved me. Jack tried to lift his hand. It fell back. The jacket, it's yours now. Keep it. Lyra shook her head hard. No, it's ours. She pulled the bloody jacket tighter around him. Then she leaned down. Her lips brushed his forehead. Cool crystal on burning skin. I felt your heart, she whispered. It beat for me. Now mine beats for you. Jack's breathing slowed. His eyes started to close. No, Lyra said. Her voice rose. No, you don't get to leave. Not after this. She looked around. The escape pods. One was still intact. Lights green. Ready? She stood. Lifted Jack in her arms. Tall queen carrying a broken human like he weighed nothing. His head rested against her shoulder. Blood stained her crystal skin red. She carried him to the nearest pod. The door hissed open. Warm interior lights welcomed them. Lyra laid him gently on the padded seat. Strapped him in. Then she climbed in beside him. Closed the door. The pod's console lit up. Auto launch sequence started. Engines roared to life. Lyra held his hand. Squeezed tight. Stay with me, Jack, she said. We're going somewhere warm. Somewhere safe. Together. The pod shook. Thrusters fired. Outside, the bay doors opened. Stars waited beyond. The pod launched. Fast, silent, away from the dying palace. Inside, Lyra leaned over Jack. Tears fell freely now. His chest rose, one more time. Weak, but there. The queen wore no jacket now, but she carried his warmth inside her forever, and the fight wasn't over yet, not while he still breathed. The escape pod shot through the black void of space. Stars blurred past a small window like white streaks. Inside, the cabin was quiet except for the soft hum of life support and the faint beep of medical monitors. Lyra sat on the floor beside the seat. Jack lay strapped in, eyes closed. His chest rose and fell, slow, weak, but still moving. The pod's auto-healer had kicked in the moment they launched. Thin tubes snaked from his arm to a glowing panel. Blue medicine dripped into his veins. Bandages sealed his wounds tighter than she ever could. His skin looked less gray now. A little color returned. Lyra held his hand. Her crystal fingers wrapped around his rough ones. She hadn't let go since takeoff. The jacket lay folded on her lap. Torn, bloody, still warm from his body. She traced the stains with one finger. Each marked a story of pain he took for her. She looked at his face. Peaceful now. No more fighting. No more bleeding. Just rest. A soft voice came from the pod speaker. Vital signs stabilizing. Estimated recovery time. 48 hours with full medical support. Destination, Neutral Alliance Station. Arrival in 14 hours. Lyra exhaled. Relief flooded her. So strong it hurt. She leaned forward. Her forehead rested gently against his again. Cool crystal on warm human skin. You kept your promise, she whispered. You didn't leave me. Jack's eyes fluttered open. Slow, tired, but alive. Lyra, his voice was hoarse. Barely there. She smiled through tears. Clear drops fell onto his hand. Don't talk yet. He looked at her, then at the jacket in her lap. A small, weak smile tugged at his lips. You kept it. Lyra nodded. She lifted the jacket carefully. Blood had dried dark on the fabric. Holes from nanites, but it still carried his scent. Faint now, but there. She stood. Slowly, she slipped her arms into the sleeves. The jacket hung loose on her tall frame. Sleeves too short, shoulders too wide. But she pulled it close anyway. Zipped it halfway. Let the collar rest against her neck. It felt right, like it belonged there. Jack watched her. His eyes softened. Looks better on you, he said. Lyra laughed softly, the first real laugh since the attack. It sounded like breaking glass, beautiful and fragile. She sat on the edge of his seat. Leaned close. When we reached the station, she said, I will tell everyone what happened. I will tell them a human saved their queen. Not with weapons or power. With warmth. With heart. Jack closed his eyes for a second. They'll think you're crazy. Maybe. She touched his cheek. But they will see this jacket. They will see your blood on it. And they will know. She paused. Her voice dropped lower. And I will never take it off. Not when I walk the halls. Not when I sit on the throne. Not when I sleep. This jacket, it's you. It's us. Jack's hand squeezed hers. Weak but real. Deal, he whispered. The pod's lights dimmed for rest mode. Soft blue glow filled the cabin. Outside, stars kept moving. Lyra stayed beside him, holding his hand, wearing his jacket. Hours passed. The station grew closer on the screen, a bright ring of lights in the dark. Jack slept again. Steady breathing now. Stronger. Lyra looked out the window, then back at him. She spoke quietly to the stars, to him, to herself. Humans are small, fragile. They bleed so easily. But their hearts are the strongest thing in the galaxy. They burn bright enough to save even the coldest queen. She leaned down, pressed her lips gently to his forehead, a kiss like ice on fire. Thank you, Jack. The pod slowed. Docking clamps engaged with a soft thud. Lyra stood, straightened the jacket on her shoulders, wiped the last tear from her cheek. The door hissed open. Warm station air rushed in. Voices, lights, medics waiting with stretchers. Lyra stepped out first, tall, proud, wearing a bloody human jacket, like a crown. Behind her, medics rushed in for Jack. She turned once, watched them lift him carefully. Then she walked forward, head high, jacket proud. The galaxy would remember this day. Not for the nanites, not for the palace, for the human who bled, so a queen could live, and for the queen who wore his jacket forever, Heart-wrenching proof that warmth can come from the strangest places. And that sometimes love starts with a simple act of giving everything you have left. Fade out. Soft music rises. Text on screen. Humans are weak, but their hearts are the strongest weapon in the universe. The end.